Hello everyone, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our weekly profile, MBA Watch, sponsored by Stratus Admissions Consulting. We have a candidate today who is called Ms. Apparel Entrepreneur. She went to the University of Michigan. She's definitely a poet, not a quant. Majored in English literature, 3.2 GPA, has a 690 GMAT. She's manager of planning and allocation at a startup in the supply chain and logistics field. Before that, she was a senior manager of planning, I'm assuming at the same startup. And she is applying to UCLA Anderson, at least that is her first choice. She doesn't tell us if she has other considerations, other target schools, but her long-term goal is to run her own apparel company. So it looks like we have a would-be entrepreneur here. We have to evaluate her profile. Susan Sarah, who is Managing Director of Stratus Admissions Consulting. Hi, Susan.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me.
So what do you think of Ms. Apparel Entrepreneur?
There's a lot to like about her. Yes, her GPA is probably softer than the average at UCLA, and maybe we're a little bit concerned that she studied English literature as opposed to economics or engineering, where she'd have great strength in quant.
Although being an English major myself, I love English majors.
Yeah, I don't not like her because she studied English. I just want to make sure that she's able to do the quantitative work. But it seems that if she's doing supply chain and logistics, she's doing some of that analytics right now in her role. So hopefully her recommenders, who I believe will be the founders of the startup she's working for, who are both Columbia Business School alumni, will be able to speak to, hey, she's going to be able to do this work because we know what it takes to be successful in a top MBA program. So what I really like about her is that she's not trying to do something entirely different. She's been in the apparel space. She wants to stay in there. So she's someone who is just looking to retool and develop some new skills so that she can ultimately start her own apparel company.
Now, the things that worry me about this application, and I'll be straight on about it, I like that she went to Michigan. It's an Ivy, it's a public Ivy. I'm not crazy about a 3.2 GPA. I'm not crazy about a 690 GMAT. And I'm not crazy about someone who works for a firm that doesn't appear to be highly selective because it is a startup and we don't really know a whole lot about it. And, you know, it's often said in admissions that you can get an admissions committee to blink once, but to get it to blink twice or three times, much more difficult.
Yeah, so I'll tackle first that GPA. 3.2, maybe there was something going on. There may be an opportunity for her to share in an optional essay. Perhaps she got mono one year and her grades were terrible. I have a kid who that happened to last year. I said, take some notes now because when you want to apply to grad school next year, you need to explain what happened your freshman fall in college. It happens.
Yeah.
In terms of the GMAT, I think she indicated that she hasn't hit her target yet. I think that's where she can really have a win, is get that up over 700, especially with a strong quant score, with a Q sub score of 47 or higher to show I can do the quantitative work. She might also take a class like MBA math just to get any dust off in terms of quant skills that perhaps she hasn't used in a classroom, maybe since high school. Now, the last challenge you asked about was not knowing what this startup was and how selective it is. I'm less concerned about that because I think she's made an impact there. And the fact that hopefully the co-founders who went to Columbia will write recommendations, I think that will speak highly to her contribution and her success. She did note in her profile that last year when her manager went on maternity leave, she had to step in and fill the shoes of someone senior to her. And was very pleased at the way she was able to keep a lot of balls in the air and make decisions. So she's kind of a risk taker. And I like that. I think it's a profile that lends itself well to entrepreneurship. And that combined with the really strong extracurriculars, I think will allow the admissions committee to make those blanks and see beyond that 3.2. And hopefully not a 690, a 720 will give her more looks.
Yeah, especially at UCLA, I would think. And now the other issue here is she notes that UCLA Anderson is her first choice. She doesn't tell us what other target schools she's looking at. And if she's not looking at other schools, don't you think she should?
Absolutely, she should. If she wants to be in business school next year, she needs to look beyond UCLA. I think her odds are pretty good if she does her research and really is able to connect to UCLA. They don't have a lot of word count in their essays and short answers this year to show the love for the school. But she's going to need to figure out how to do that in different ways. But I think beyond UCLA, I would encourage her to take a look probably at NYU. I'm guessing that maybe she is in New York if she's working for some Columbia alumni. And NYU's got great strengths in entrepreneurship.
Now she has some interesting extras too. She, and I'll quote her, rescuing leftover cuisine. Now we know what that is. You basically go to bakeries and other restaurants and you rescue the food that would otherwise be wasted and donated to local food pantries. And she's done that numerous times over the COVID period. She's also involved in Dress for Success, and she says she's facilitated the company donation of nearly 3,000 units of women's professional skirts and dresses. Do those extras really play at this time and during the pandemic?
I think they absolutely do, John, and I think they'll play especially well with UCLA. UCLA's three values are share success, think fearlessly, and drive change. And I think Ms. Apparel Entrepreneur is doing all three of those during this time of COVID, when a lot of people are just sitting at home making excuses for not being out in their communities and not being able to add any value or grow their leadership skills.
Susan, thank you. That's a great point that you made. And for all of you out there, if you're sitting on the couch watching Netflix or Amazon, get off the couch, do something. It will really help your application during this pandemic. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. You've been watching our Profile of the Week for MBA Watch with Stratus Admissions Consulting.